The 1970s was a period of change for DC and Marvel. The Bronze Age was heavy with magical superheroes and supervillains. DC created a massive number of new series, but then due to a lack of sales, they ended up canceling most of them. However, Jack Kirby, famous for his Marvel creations, came to work for DC creating a book called New Gods that was filled with characters and locations such as Darkseid and Apocalypse that are still used by DC today. In coming to DC, Jack Kirby was the first American comic book professional heralded by the publisher before his comics were printed by them. His image was put onto the front of a comic, and the slogan, "Kirby is coming," started appearing on many others. In this manner, he became the first comic book professional to get more of a say in the industry, as well as attention from the fans due to switching publishers. Marvel, meanwhile, released a new type of hero, Conan the Barbarian. His initial series would last 20 years, and new series would carry on the character's journey after. However, Marvel did not create Conan, as the character came from a series of books by Robert E. Howard, a writer of the 1920s and 30s. The Green Lantern Green Arrow series drew great interest by having the titular heroes deal with real-life problems such as legally defeating a landlord's schemes to evict his tenants after Green Lantern is attacked for saving the landlord from a vengeful tenant. At the end of the issue, the two heroes drive around the country dealing with social issues. Later in the same series, they would also run without Comic Code Authority approval, as Green Arrow's sidekick Speedy became addicted to drugs and required the aid of the heroes to help him. However, this series was not the first in the Bronze Age to run without CCA approval. Marvel ran issues 96 through 98 of The Amazing Spider-Man in 1971, which dealt with the harmful effects of drug use as well. The CCA thought the drug issue should be ignored completely, but Marvel printed the issues regardless. Thankfully for Marvel, rather than bringing back the days of comic running 22 years prior, the public was on Marvel's side, applauding their stance in this storyline. As a result, the CCA started relaxing their rules a bit, allowing certain horror comic books to arise again. DC's The Swamp Thing, Marvel's Ghost Rider, and many other horror characters came back, and new ones rose as well as superheroes and supervillains that added a new twist to the mainstream series. Many heroes like Superman had constantly revisited supervillains seeking revenge, but seeing how they fared against phantoms and dark magic was interestingly different. 1973 was another interesting year in particular. DC brought characters they had purchased from Fawcett and Quality Comics into their series. More importantly, to the history of comics, Spider-Man number 121 came out, shocking everyone. In it, Spider-Man's then-girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, was murdered by his arch-nemesis, the Green Goblin. Certainly, many minor characters had been killed over the years in comics, but never one so innocent or important to the main character. It reminded readers that supervillains were actually insane and evil, and sometimes a hero just couldn't save the day despite their best efforts. That same year, Marvel also introduced some of their most popular anti-heroes in a time where such characters were rare and new. The two most popular were, as today, the Punisher and Wolverine. The Punisher would appear in The Amazing Spider-Man for a few issues, before finally getting his own series in the mid-1980s. Wolverine, on the other hand, faced off against the Incredible Hulk in issue 181, but would soon appear in the New X-Men in 1975. Both characters would seek to stop supervillains and regular criminal scum, but their motives were darker. Not only were they willing to try to kill the villains they went up against, but they sometimes succeeded in doing so. As such, their popularity showed that they acted as how people might react to such situations and motivational backstory, even if most people did not want to publicly admit it. In 1975, the new X-Men arrived, with heroes from all around the world as well as many of the original X-Men, and placing the members of the X-Men as well as their foes as having come from many different countries and ethnicities, they further accentuated the realism of the series despite its fantastical elements, with dialect, appearance, and references made by each character which uniquely identified them and made them relatable to a variety of different readers. Then, in 1976, Marvel and DC had their first heroic crossover, with each publisher's star character combating each other before teaming up. Superman and Spider-Man being brought together in this manner may not have been the first multi-publisher crossover. That was actually The Wizard of Oz, which both publishers worked on together. But it did garner a great deal of success and inspire many other company crossovers to happen later. Cerebus Issue 1 came out in 1977, created and published by Dave Sim, independent of any large company, but still selling fairly well. As a result of its moderate success, other independent publishers soon would form their own series, including a duel we'll be covering in the next episode. That's all for this week. Come back in 2 weeks as we'll delve into the Grim Age. Thanks for listening to Tech Comics, and I'll catch you on the flip side.